Hello there, and welcome to Why Should I Care? I'm Joe Devine, and I'm joined now by Alex Stewart, Tifo analyst. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Joe.
Now, Alex and I have known each other for a long time, and one of the things I like least about Alex is the number of times he tries to tell me about something I don't care about. Now, Alex, you're very interested in niche things as they relate to football, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
And so we devised a format where Alex gets to have his way a bit and tell me about things about the football world that he cares about that I don't, but try to sell it to me and try to answer the question, why should I care, Alex? So Alex, why should I care today about what have you chosen?
I've chosen Atalanta.
Okay, Alex, you have 5 attempts to try and make me care about Atalanta. I invite you to begin with number 1.
Okay, so number 1 is that Atalanta is not from Atalanta. There is no place called Atalanta. Actually, it's from the city of Bergamo. Bergamo is the 4th largest city in Lombardy. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
You mean a World Heritage Site, that meaning a landmark or area with legal protection by an international convention administered by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization?
Exactly that.
Oh, I care about that.
Yes, and the reason for that is that when Bergamo was ceded by the Duchy of Milan in 1428 to Venice, Venice then built a huge series of walls around the city. I feel like I'm losing you here slightly.
No, Gary, you push forward.
The point of this is that Bergamo is not one of the traditional powerhouses of Italian football, right? So you've got Milan, you've got Rome.
Sure.
These are the big places. Turin obviously has Juventus and Torino as well. And Bergamo...
Kind of an underdog then.
Kind of an underdog. And what
I can buy with that.
Right. So they're known as the Queen of the Provinces. And this is because alongside these big powerhouse clubs in Italian football, like Roma and AC Milan and Inter Milan, Atalanta punches above its weight consistently. So it was founded in 1907. The black and blue colours are the result of a club merger in 1920. But in that period of its 113-year history, it spent about 2/3 of that in Serie A, which for a club that is provincial in nature, if you compare it with the very up and down nature of the rest of Italian football, is kind of surprising.
Okay, I quite like that. I mean, I can vibe with the underdog thing. I'm seeing Atalanta as an underdog of Serie A. And I've heard exciting things about them recently. What's point number 2, Alex?
So point number 2 is the youth system.
I do love the youth. Now tell me about the youth of Atalanta.
Okay, so Atalanta has traditionally been really famous for its youth prospects. It's had a long history of bringing through strong Italian prospects in football. This kind of really came to a head in about 1990. They completely revamped the system, and I think there was probably an awareness that if Atalanta were to continue to compete with these big Italian clubs, then youth development, partly to bring through good players and partly to then sell those players on, was going to be really, really important. So during the Euros, Manuel Locatelli, who's now at Sassuolo, caught the eye. He came through the Atalanta youth system.
Did he really?
He did indeed.
Now linked to Arsenal.
Now linked to Arsenal and probably quite a few other people.
Sure.
Amad Diallo, who is at Manchester United.
Amad, yeah.
This is what happened with him. Dejan Kulusevski, who played really well for Sweden in the Euro as well. He came through, Atalanta bought him, immediately loaned him out to Parma.
Right.
He's now gone to Juventus. Atalanta make a load of money on that. They don't get the performances from it, but...
Sure. But what you're saying is they're smart when it comes to youth.
They're very smart when it comes to youth. So they've built on this foundation of being one of the best regarded youth academies in the whole of Europe. And this has been consistently the case since the 90s.
I can feel my my care rising a little bit here. I like that.
Yeah.
What's number 3?
Number 3 is the players they've currently got. So, we've already mentioned Locatelli.
Yeah.
Really, really good for Italy.
He's not there though.
No, he's not.
He's not one of the players they've currently got.
All right.
I'm waning. Come on,
Sure.
tell me who they've got.
Okay,
Show me, so I want to see something.
From the Euro, right. Gersons.
Oh, yes.
Remo Freuler.
Is Gersons at Atalanta?
He is indeed, yes.
I did not know that.
Joachim Mæhle, he of the beautiful, curving...
I know many of
assist.
these players.
Right, okay. Malinovsky.
Yes, I know.
Do you remember the only good goal that Russia scored against Finland? That beautiful little chip and control?
Yes.
Miranchuk,
I remember
he's at
him.
Atalanta.
Right. Oh wow, almost their entire squad was there.
Yeah, De Roon was playing for Netherlands as well. Pessina came on for Italy a couple of times. So they have a lot of really, really good players. And some of these players are guys who've been there for quite a long time. So Duvan Zapata, for example.
I've heard of him.
If you look at things like goal creating actions, shot creating actions for Europe's top 5 leagues, Atalanta players are there loads and loads. Like lots.
Tell me what that means, though.
Okay, so
because what's happened is you've said things and I've gone, I'm not listening because you're saying things I don't understand. Explain it to me, make me care.
Right, so a shot creating action is one of the 2 things that immediately precede a shot. So that might be a dribble, it might be a pass, it might be getting fouled, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Could be a defensive action as well.
A positive attacking action, basically.
Something good that happens 2 things before a shot happens.
Right, okay.
Goal creating actions are exactly the same. And what you have here with Atalanta, and we will, go on to explain how this happens, but they have a really, really good attack.
Okay.
They're extremely dominant, and they have players, and it's not just these guys that are on the screen. So you can see here Luis Muriel, for example. If I may go to FB Ref.
Please do.
You will see
a publicly available website.
A publicly available website, and a really, really good website for stats and data across football.
Yeah.
Thoroughly recommended. For goals and assists per 90, non-penalty goals and assists per 90, Luis Muriel of Atalanta is the best in Europe's top 5 leagues.
Actual goals and assists, Luis Muriel more than anyone else
per 90
in the top 5 leagues.
Exactly
per
this.
90.
And if we look at goal creating actions per 90,
does he not play very often?
Muriel?
Yeah.
He's been kind of eased out a little bit.
So he's an extremely impactful substitute then, is what you're saying?
Yes,
right.
And they also have Ilicic on the bench. So if you look at goal creating actions per 90 here, in this you've got Ilicic and Muriel. Luis Muriel is on a par with Lionel Messi, right, for this per 90. Now, obviously, he doesn't play as often as Messi.
Sure,
but
we're not saying he's as good as Messi.
We're not saying he's as good as Messi, but what this means is that Atalanta just have this suite of attacking options. Some of them are getting on a little bit and have been at the club a while. Some of them, people like Miranchuk and Malinovsky, are more recent acquisitions. But they are great going forward.
Okay, you've driven it home. I like it. Yeah,
excellent.
You're talking yourself out of a positive care now, but I really enjoyed that bit.
Just too much detail.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. What's next? What's number 4?
Should we talk about tactics?
Is that number 4?
That's number 4. Atalanta's tactics are really interesting. It's fair.
I'll be the judge.
Sure, you'll be the judge. It's fair to say that they're not unique in Europe's top 5 leagues, but the style that they play is, imagine the most exciting parts of Sheffield United's overlapping centre-backs, a kind of Marcelo Bielsa transitional high-pressing man-marking game.
I like Marcelo Bielsa.
Lots and lots of dynamic wide attacking, and a sort of combination of things that you don't really see anywhere else.
Now let me say this to you. As a layman who doesn't watch Serie A, my imagination of what it is lots of people being slow and doing nothing with 3 at the back. That's wrong, right?
Right. So they do have 3 at the back.
Okay, that bit's right.
But they absolutely are not slow and do nothing.
Okay.
So the way that they tend to play, and I will keep this relatively brief for you to try and sustain your attention.
Well, it's the attention span is
limited.
Yeah, what can you do?
So these guys will move out here. These are the centre backs. And then above this, right, you have just constant rotation and positional fluidity.
Sure.
So maybe one of the midfielders will drop back in here, but then a wing back will crop up in the middle, and that will allow the centre back to push forwards. Sometimes these wide players, these forward players here will drop out wide, and your wing back will actually crop up in this sort of area.
Yeah. Nice.
You've just got a constant.
He's delivering the mail. Yeah? Right up there into the front. These are the sorts of things you can say to keep me interested.
Oh, he's delivering the mail right up into the front. Did I do okay?
You did a great job.
Thank you. So you have lots of these rotations. That means that Atalanta are difficult to mark, they're difficult to shut down. They've got players interchanging. This is not just kind of busked either. They're not making
they wouldn't
it
be
up
fun
as they
to
go
play because your opposition team would be like, oh, what am I supposed to be doing?
Who am I supposed to be marking here, right? Exactly.
And no one likes to look like they don't know what they're doing.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's why I put in fastidious hours of preparation to things like this. So what they tend to do is they focus a lot of their attacks down the wide areas. That means that there's this kind of numerical superiority here in the wide areas, and sometimes that results actually in almost nobody in the middle. This would remind you perhaps of the donut.
Right,
Mikel Arteta's donut. So you stack players in wide areas.
It's a new thing, isn't it, no midfield?
Well, yeah, it is. It's because if you've got enough players in this sort of area, you can create these sorts of passing rotations and options. That means it's really easy to keep the ball.
Yeah.
Then you start drawing the opposition players across because they're desperately trying to do it.
And you make all this space.
You can suddenly open it up. And that's why Gersons, for example, and he was doing this for Germany during the Euro, right?
It's one of the things I remember.
He comes herring in here because they've managed to create this cross-field pass. And because these guys are splitting very wide, that means, again, they can rotate the ball quickly through the back line.
Yeah.
Their pressing system is also really interesting, and it kind of feeds into how they play. So what they want to do is try and encourage the opposition to play into the wide areas. Pressing system's not so much your bag.
Press ahead, my friend. But you know,
that was very good.
Do keep it brief.
Okay, so basically they just harass and harry the players with this kind of slightly man-orientated system.
Yeah.
That's where again there's a similarity with Bielsa. If they can then rob the ball from the opposition in this sort of wide area, then they can turn it over. They've already got lots of players nearby. Boom.
That was number 4, wasn't it?
That was number 4.
I didn't like that one as much. I think I'd like it if I watched them play.
Is it too details orientated?
Well, what you're telling me is they're fun to watch, right?
They're very fun to watch.
That's all you needed to say.
Okay, well that's 0.5.
That's 0.5?
Yes.
Did you have more to say on 0.5? They're fun to watch.
I was going to add a little detail, if that's okay.
Yeah, well, let's let Don put the cue card in.
Okay.
I've jumped that, and then you can.
They're fun to watch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you didn't know that was coming, did
well,
you?
points 4 and 5 are kind of, but go on, yeah.
Sure. You like goals, right?
I love goals.
Who doesn't love goals?
I don't know. I'm sure there's someone, but I like them.
So Atalanta are the highest scorers in Serie A for the last 3 seasons.
Oh, wow. I like it. Where have they finished in the league?
So the last 3 seasons, they finished 3rd each time.
Okay.
They also got to the quarterfinals of the Champions League.
Yes, they did.
2 seasons ago.
Yes.
Where they finally went out to PSG, but they beat some really, really good teams along the way to get there. When Gasperini took over, they'd been bumming around mid-table.
Sure.
They got promoted back into Serie A, I think, about 6 or 7 seasons previously.
Right.
But there were lots of finishes around 14th, 15th. He comes in.
They were just a normal team.
They were just a normal team.
We wouldn't be making this video about them.
Doing their best.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And Gasperini came in with this slightly unorthodox system. Boom. And straight away, they are, I think his first season, they finished 4th.
Yeah.
Now,
that's the 3rd time you've said boom. Are you doing that deliberately to try and excite me? Because it's working. Every time you say it, I think, oh, he said something exciting.
Oh.
It's working. Yeah.
Oh.
Boom.
Okay. And as I said before, for I think it was point 1, this is not a team that you expect to compete. But because of points 1 to 4, you see I've created this sequentially.
Sure, yeah.
Right. You now have, well, I planned
Do carry on.
Okay.
Sure.
I've got details about the frescoes in Santa Maria Maggiore if you'd like those instead. Did you know that the tapestries were, no, okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
They are now in a position where I think it's fair to say they can legitimately challenge for Serie A.
Well, I was going to ask you, are they close to that? What would they need to do to...
The only team in the whole of Europe's top 5 leagues that scored more goals than them last season was Bayern Munich.
So they need to concede fewer.
They need to concede fewer.
Right.
And this is the issue with Gasperini. Some people say that maybe he couldn't transition to a bigger side because his system, a little bit, again, like Bielsa, is so attack heavy and so high pressing and so hard to do. Would it translate to a Juventus or a Manchester United or someone like
League
that.
victories.
Having said that, the upside to being this sort of team and this sort of club is that you are a very appealing prospect for players like Joachim Mæhle, for example. Tin Koopmeiners, who we've talked about in Manchester United Sensible Transfers videos, he may be joining. That would be an amazing signing for them.
That would be cool.
So if they can tighten up defensively a little bit, and if they can take advantage of some of the financial issues that Inter have, the transitional period that Juventus are going through with Allegri coming back, Atalanta are actually really, really well situated to make a decent fist of the title this season.
Okay.
At the very least, they'll be back in the Champions League, bringing that scintillating, exciting attacking football that we talked about.
Boom.
Yeah, and scoring a load of goals.
Right.
So if you want to disabuse yourself of the notion that Italian football is boring, stolid, three at the back nonsense, Atalanta are the team for you.
I have to say, I think my barometer is full. I think you've won me over. I like Atalanta now.
There you go.
That's really all it took.
That was, I'm delighted.
UNESCO.
1428.
And there we go, that's the end. I like Atalanta now. Thank you to Alex Stewart here for telling me about them. We'll be back soon for Alex to tell me about another thing, which is possibly, or possibly not, to be worthy of care.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including David Ornstein, Daniel Taylor, Ollie Kay, Amy Lawrence and Rafa Honigstein. There are journalists dedicated to each Premier League team, so every fan gets the coverage they deserve, not just the big clubs. And you can try it for free now for 30 days. See the link in the description.